Thank you very much for being with us. Please tell me your name and your affiliation.
Hi, I'm Angelo Dalli. I'm the CEO of Umnai and an artificial intelligence company.
What does Umnai do and what makes it unique?
Well, we work on solving the problem of explainable AI. We're working on basically the problem with current technology is that it gives you an answer, but it doesn't give you the explanation of how it actually got to that answer. So, for example, if you are in medical diagnosis, you get a diagnosis, you say, like you have this problem, if it's looking at an X-ray or an MRI, but it doesn't tell you how it actually got to that diagnosis. So we're researching ways into how that answer could actually be supported by the decision steps, how it got to that answer, how and why.
Hopefully you're doing more than just researching since you're a startup, so you must have some idea of how to address that issue. What is your solution?
Our solution, we've been researching and doing, looking at different research that maybe has been overlooked in the past also, and applying the new hardware, new technology that exists now, and going beyond what deep learning is doing. We're also patenting a lot of the technology, so we can't really say too much about it, but effectively looking at creative ways of going beyond what the current deep learning, data-intensive approaches lie. And effectively, a lot of the problem right now is that you need a lot of data to train deep learning models. So one of the things that we're looking at is to how to reduce the amount of data that you need. And this is an exciting area of research that we're working on.
Is the output of an explainable AI a textual explanation, or you envision different ways that the reasoning can be represented for the user to understand?
Well, there is a lot of research done by DARPA on this. DARPA have the Explainable AI program, and you can see that it depends on the domain really. In some domains text would be the best, in some domains an image is the best. I know if you're looking at an MRI image, for example, an image is probably the best. If you're in a driverless car, probably like a little symbol for the driver is the best explanation. And if you're looking at, for example, a legal document, then a text explanation is the best. So it largely depends on the domain.
What is the stage of your project? Do you have customers yet? Where are you in the roadmap?
We're currently focusing more on the basic research. So we're filing patents, protecting technology. I've been as a researcher in AI for the last 20 years. I've been also thinking about some of the ideas for a long time, and just waiting for the hardware to catch up for an actual implementation. And this is one of the main recurring themes in AI, that sometimes the algorithms are there, but the hardware took a long time to actually catch up. The availability of data took a long to catch up. So, I can see that this new wave will also be driven by looking at old stuff, fairly old stuff, and, giving it a new coat of paint and a new infusion of new ideas. For example, deep learning itself has been around since the early 90s. And recently it has taken off just because of the availability of faster processors and also more data.
And of course, that is what is going to happen once again, because the new, more powerful hardware is going to make AI developers ambitious until they hit the limits of that hardware. Yes. Are you planning your company to provide vertical solutions to enterprises or consumers, or you may become a platform for developers to build upon?
Our strategy is more to become a platform and to provide the core technology in collaboration with partners. So there are too many verticals that will apply. So the idea is to collaborate with different partners, do proof of concept, but that is something that will come later on.
You mentioned the fact that you aim to be able to reduce the use of big data, smaller sets of data. Another trend these days is for AI to be embedded in the devices themselves at the edges of networks. Do you believe that your technology will be embeddable as well, or it will need to be living in the data centers?
Well, I believe a lot strongly on this, that AI should be running everywhere. I'm not a very big fan of AI that needs to constantly be online and have a big data center in order for it to work. And there needs to be like some failure mode at least, maybe with limited capabilities where the AI will be able to work. So definitely, we're working on solving that problem and we're getting there quite quickly.
We are under the illusion that humans are good at explaining themselves, but this is only true in a limited number of cases. If you ask somebody who just had an accident because they were driving under the influence, and you ask them, why did you do that? Their first answer will be, I have no idea. I was stupid, I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. So your AI will be superhuman out of the box.
I wouldn't say superhuman, but it will be able to articulate precisely why a certain accident, for example, in a driverless car, has happened. So I think the availability of a good quality explanation may not be superhuman, but it will make, it will go a long way towards people understanding the why the AI is thinking in a particular way. It's not thinking, but it's behaving in a particular way. And I think this will help a lot in people understanding AI, trusting it, and also incorporating it into normal society, because if you have something that just behaves and doesn't tell you how it's actually thinking, or you don't understand the behavior, you're either not going to trust it, or worse, you're going to abdicate your responsibilities towards it, and you don't know how it's actually working, how it's actually doing things. And this, I think, would be a big mistake, to do this blindly and blindly following the advice of the AI, because it will lead to a backlash. When inevitably AI will make mistakes and you don't understand them, then people will start making up explanations for something that they do not really understand. So I think understanding the way that the AI works is vital for AI to be incorporated, for example, in regulated industries and industries that will impact human lives. And I think it's vital that this will be part of the future AI solutions.
I don't think that you expect your AI to be able to explain everything all the time. So you must be already thinking of how the trust that you are building and the responsibility that comes with it needs to be managed on the edge cases where your approach will have to wave the white flag, give up, and say, sorry, I actually can't explain it. So how are you going to handle that responsibility and manage it correctly?
I think that the way to manage it is to make sure that people at the end are in control. I think this is the way that when you have an edge case and the AI cannot explain itself, this is where humans should be involved and actually, checking the results and be able to have a dialogue with the AI, be collaborative with the AI. And I think this is why the future AI will have explainability inbuilt into it, because this is the way that you get that two-way dialogue between people and the AI. If there's something that is wrong or the AI just cannot explain itself, it can ask a human for help. It can ask a human to give it more training examples, for example, this kind of stuff, which will enable a new way of doing AI. More in line with, for example, what Gary Marcus says is the understanding AI that actually understands, rather than just as a glorified statistical machine, which right now at the moment it is.
Generative adversarial networks are letting us understand how different AI systems can collaborate in order to produce better results than each of them could individually. Are you planning the output of your explanations to be the input of other AI systems that can improve as a consequence?
Yes, we do see that, once you have explanation, anything can be improved with the help of a good explanation. So just in real life with people, when someone is able to explain themselves, you prefer to actually be with that person and talk to that person and utilize their services. And the same we envisage will be with Explainable AI. Obviously, you can't really foretell the future completely, and there will always be unintended consequences, but we do see that the explanations will be embedded absolutely everywhere. And apart from people, I guess AI itself can also benefit from having explanations from other systems. So you can imagine, like a system that connects to other systems that explain themselves and, be able to do something useful with that.
Often the answers we get are unsatisfactory, but we don't realize that the fault is with us because we didn't ask the right questions. How can we avoid that with your system so that Explainable AI provides us with the tools that allow us to ask the right questions in that particular moment?
I think good explanations help the person who is actually reading, consuming those explanations, come up with more intelligent questions. And I think this is obviously one of the signs that someone has understood something properly, is that they ask relevant questions. And I can see, like the coupling with the explanations and maybe with question answering that will then point you to, related questions. So I think there will be a new wave of improvement, similar to deep learning, that will be based on explanations.
So what are the next steps for your projects that you are looking forward to be able to complete in the few months ahead of us?
Well, at the moment we're in like this stealth startup mode, so I'm looking forward that maybe sometime next year, near the end of Q2 next year, we'll be able to tell the world, talk to the world and show what we're actually doing and demonstrate it. And I think it will be a mind-blowing experience. But
I remind you that we are on camera, so I hope that anything you said is not too secret.
It's not.
But I'm looking forward to be sitting with you again in the spring maybe,
yes.
And then be able to go into more concrete examples and explain how explainable AI will benefit the world and the industry all over.
Thank you very much. It will be a good explanation.
Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.